me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Do roll call next. I see Jeff joining us virtually.
Here.
Here. Guy.
Here.
Nate.
Here.
And Derek is here. We have no public comments tonight, so we will start with the student council update, please.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, so we talked about a few things today. We're gonna do the cards for the meadows, starting after Thanksgiving break, to donate to them for Christmas and stuff. We're gonna do dress up days the week leading up to Christmas break. And then we're gonna do like movies and games and stuff like that the day before, which I think is the 2nd. And then we are gonna switch up from doing the glow ball to doing like a snowball, which we decided on January 28th, if that works out with everybody's like sports schedules. And we were thinking of doing, the people on court would find a charity that they would like, and then whoever got king or queen, the money raised for the dance, and we would do like fundraising, like bake sales and stuff for the court couples, and all the money raised would go to that charity of their choice. I believe that was it.
Awesome, thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can Jeff hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
All right.
Perfect. Next up, we will have Celebrate Fall River.
All right, Mr. Polish and my 5th grade crew, come on up. So each month we, my PBIS team and I talk about the character traits we want to highlight for the school year. And so every month we have a pirate rally. And this year I had a fantastic group of 5th graders volunteer some work. So this is the slideshow we go through with our kiddos, and the videos is Polish, just let me know when you're ready. I'll play one.
About 2 weeks ago, a student came to me and said they had a letter for Mr. Barrier, right, Nicole? And she wanted the 5th grade to do more, take more of a leadership role. So, I thought, oh, that's a good one to give to Mr. Barrier. So he got the letter and then he came to me and we kind of thought together, hey, we could get them more involved in the pirate rallies, doing videos and things like that. So I told the kids, Nicole and a few others, I'm like, hey, let's make some videos on responsibility. And you can do it all, and then I'll just look over your script and we can film it and do all that. And they had Zoom meetings over the weekend, I guess, which was pretty cool. They took on a good leadership role. And then Monday we started video. Was it Monday or Tuesday we started video? Tuesday. And then we gave the videos to Mr. Barrier, who showed them at our pirate rally. And then was it Thursday? You volunteered me to come to the meetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. That sounds exactly like them.
So some of the kids, if you wanted to ask them questions, or did any of you girls or boys that you want to tell the folks? Elsie, did you?
Can do it. Yeah.
Well, Elsie wrote a whole page about responsibility. A little bit shy.
You can say it. Come
Yeah,
on.
come on, let's see it. You're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, you'll be just fine. Aaron.
You absolutely will. Yeah. You got it, Ken.
Responsibility. What is responsibility? Have you ever had your parents or someone tell you need to have more responsibility to do something? Well, responsibility is something you need to have for someone who trusts you and for something that makes you a better person. Something that you can do to be responsible is doing something that needs to be done on time. For example, when you check out library books, you need to return them after you're done reading it. If you are responsible all the time, you will get more free time to do stuff that doesn't have to get done, but you want to do it. Have you ever said, can I borrow this? Borrow means to use something, but return it when you're done. That is another example of being responsible. If you borrow something, means it's not yours, but you're using it. Then when you're done, return it. So next time when you need to be responsible, you know what it is and what to do.
Yeah. So we do plan on making more videos for our pirate rally, incorporating more of our 5th grade classmates. We were looking for Mr. Barrier, maybe being a stunt double in one of them.
Always happy. I tell the kids all the time, I'll make for myself, no problem, we're good.
We also need budgeting for a green room.
I told you, I was looking for a back one. So, would you like to show them?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
So this is for the last month, there's 4 different videos they did.
We have one more speech, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say it.
Oh.
I'm not gonna hit play until you do, so. You got this. I'll
You'll be great. Just do it.
Yeah. You're president. Look at that.
No, you could just
Just read it.
say it out. Just read it to your dad. Just say it, read it to your dad.
You got it done.
He just said he was gonna give you an extra $100.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I made a note to Mr. Barry asking if I could start I made a note to Mr. Barry asking if I could start a junior student council. I did this because I wanted to help out, because I love helping people and I thought this would be a good thing to do. And there's a student council for the kids older than us, so I thought there should be a junior student council for the kids younger. And then when he got back to me, he said, you can make videos for the pirate rallies if you want. So I said, sure, what would we do? And he told me that I could pick a couple people to be in it with me. So I chose Peyton, Elsie, Olivia, Natalie, Finn, Leah, Marco, and me. And Mr. Polish told us he would help us if we needed it. I think I chose a pretty good group because whenever we make the videos, it turns out really good. I think this thing was a very good idea and it requires responsibility, which we have. We are in 5th grade now, and when you're in 5th grade, you have to start making some choices. So I made this.
All right, so here's one of the videos that we played last night. Sound. And there we go. Now bring it up. No, I'll put it on blast.
Your responsibility is when you're working on time.
Hey, you need to turn your assignment in or you will fail. And this is on your report card.
Sorry, I didn't do it. I forgot to do my homework.
It's okay, this is just a warning, but you can go for recess.
You guys, I need help. I don't know what to do. I'm going to keep doing all my assignments. I keep forgetting to do my homework. That's what I do. What I do is when I go home, I go straight to my room to do my homework. After I do that, then I get to do whatever I want for the rest of the night because I have all my homework. Yeah, I do the same, but sometimes I forget. So I just ask my kids if they can help me when I'm short class or so I would use them.
Good job. Yeah. So I was very happy to see them volunteer to do this. I think you guys are doing a great job of leadership. I had lunch with several of them today. We got to talk about all sorts of good things, including Chick-fil-A sauce. But more importantly, I also talked about tonight, what we're doing, what we're gonna do in the future. For this thing, Mr. Polish is doing a great job with them in his leadership, and I think training them to be leaders at this age is just gonna help when they get to the real coolness. So thank you. Good job, John.
Thank you very much for being strong leaders at the elementary level with the work graders.
We also have a presentation for our Washington DC trip to our Celebrate Fall River High School. Now you don't need the first one, right? No. No.
So he was voluntold to be here now. So just a little update on our Washington DC trip. We have approximately 28 students who are interested in going along and 11 parents. So about 39 total. We need 56, so we have about 17 spots still available. I have reached out to other classes at school. I reached out to Rio without really any interest. So if we don't get 56, it'll be fine. We will have a little bit of an additional cost. However, Mrs. Severson and I mailed out over 35 letters yesterday to local businesses in hopes to get some sponsorships. So that we can maybe cover that cost if there is an addition, if we don't meet our number. Also, the money would also go towards kids who might not financially be able to go on the field trip, so then this would ensure that they would, be able to go. So in terms of fundraising, we've done a couple of fundraisers already, so we sold 413 mums in the fall. That was a lot of mums. And organizing them, and then Lost Lake Acres was really great. They donated $1 for each mum that we sold, so that money went into our scholarship fund, which right now we have about $900 in the scholarship fund already. So that's through that donation. And then when we did the mom fundraiser, we took community members and sold mums to them. So it's a combination of some of that. And then we actually have a fundraiser being picked up tomorrow. That is our Crave cheese and Leroy meats. So a total of 537 items were sold for Leroy. Each of those products made a $3 profit. And then 378 items from Crave cheese, and each of those were also about a $3 profit as well. So we have a couple of kids, Drew included. He sold both mums and the cheese and sausage and stuff like that, and he's almost got half his trip paid. So and we have actually one student who has over half their trip paid. They were real big go-getters with fundraising and stuff like that. So it's nice to get that cost cut for families. Again, we have the sponsorship letters going out right now. We're mailed that letter out to families, so that way they can send it out to their family and friends to potentially get money back to help cover costs. And then we still will maybe look at some Culver's mix as well. So yeah, that's where we are with our trip. Still really excited. All the kids are really excited to be going, who are coming along with us and stuff like that. So Miss Severson couldn't be here actually. She lives in DeForest, so I was like, don't worry about it. I got that. So any questions?
What was the date of the trip again?
It's over spring break. So we leave, I believe, March 19th, which is a Sunday. We come back on a Thursday.
It's 8th and 9th graders.
8th and 9th graders, yes. Yep, mostly 8th graders. But we got some 9th graders interested as well. So any questions, please ask them.
Drew, are you excited?
I was gonna say, he really looks excited.
I prompted him on this. I was like, "He'll probably ask you what the thing you're looking forward to the most."
What are you looking for?
He said food.
Food,
Yeah. Very food.
That big part of it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share, we were really proud of what we've been doing. The kids have been doing a great job with the fundraising. And so, yeah, going from there. So, all right.
Very
Thank
cool.
you for all your hard work.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good fundraising. Good luck.
You said
All right, next up is discussion and possible action on school meeting minutes from October 19th, 2022, regular school board meeting, and November 2nd, 2022, special school board meeting. I can take those together. Somebody would like to make that motion?
I'll motion, for the motion, to accept the meetings. I'll second that.
We have a motion by Kenny, second by Nate to accept the 2 meeting minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is approval to accept the treasurer's report.
So in your report, you got the summary again, and it's after a couple months looking so close to what last year was. If you look at Fund 10 in particular, we had 26% of the budget spent last year. This year was only 23%. We've actually spent a little less out of Fund 10. And we're going to see a little bit of difference this year from last year, because last year there's so much more COVID money was being spent. So it's not surprising we're a little bit less expenditures this year, but as a percentage, we're actually haven't spent as much. So right now, it looks like a really good place to be.
Is there any reason why Fund 80 looks like is down in the revenue from this?
I would have to check with Colleen.
Okay.
I
That's one of them.
don't really know why. It's possible the timing of it is when she collected like the winter sports fees for kids. Could be when the deposit was made, could be as much as that.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
We have a motion by Guy, second by Kenny to accept the treasurer's report. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up will be, I'll make the motion to approve payroll for November 30th and December 15th and vouchers 423653 to 423790 and 2022-00131 to 2022-00183 in the amount of $313,000, 370.81.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Derek, second by Guy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up, gifts and donations.
Yeah, so, Danielle Nelson donated a beautiful balloon display for the Halloween bash. And then we were able to keep it up and ready to go on Monday for Halloween. And so a lot of the students and teachers took pictures in front of it and she did a great job.
And then we also have, Jenna Reese, a friend who works at Iowa. And they donated school supplies that are now in our URC that Jenna got all set up for we sent out, to the entire staff to know. So I think Iowa Plasma Services for that donation of school supplies.
Great. Thank you very much. Next up is the committee reports. So we met again tonight for policy committee. We also met last Wednesday and went through about 2 hours of policy information. We're going to meet again next Wednesday, go through probably 2 hours of policy information and then see where we're at from there. The thought was perhaps bringing, so that as we go to the first reading, bringing then all of the compendium to the full board for the second reading and the full approval. We're going to get some guidance if we want to break that up into a couple chunks, or the best way to present that information to everybody, because it will be overwhelming when you see the stack. You might need a wagon to bring it home. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
We're over halfway through.
Yeah, we are overhead.
It's been quite a process. The guys from Neola, these two, and even Mr. Zacco before. We're really, I mean, it's such a nice group of people working, and Andrea was helping with it, and Jake Hartman was helping with it, Brian Anderson was helping with it, all of regard. So a lot of people looking at the different policies, and then 2 gentlemen from the policy committee being involved so far. It's been a good process, and we'll be better off once this is all in place, and we'll actually have policy that tells us how things should work. That'll be much more complete.
All right, new business. We'll start off with the fall activities report.
So I have the season summaries from all the coaches, minus cross country. I can only send some emails, but I do know cross country had 2 first team runners in Josh Dietzenbach and Sam Salton. The boys finished 4th and the girls finished 8th in conference. So again, these are from our coaches. So for our football season summary for high school, Josh writes, our football players responded exceptionally well to new lessons, techniques, and schemes that were taught in year 1 with our new coaching staff. And although we didn't get a chance to meet till the end of June, our seniors bought in, led in, and never quit. Our football team finished the regular season with 3 wins, narrowly missing the playoffs. You were at that last game. It was a heartbreaker. We are encouraged that our program grew from 31 players in 2021 to 6 players in 2022. And I think he's projecting to keep growing, and the numbers from the co-op at the younger ages coming up, it looks really great. And I am a huge fan of the co-op. And on a side note, I've really enjoyed working with Jared, and it's gone pretty smoothly. So just as an interjection there. He says new tradition performed, memories were made. They had a ladies' night where players invited a special woman in their lives to join our team at an August practice on the field. He says with a ton of volunteer help from our parents and families, We were also able to have team dinner each Thursday night before a varsity game. Thank you to all who contributed. Our team attended both Fall River and Rio homecoming parades, highlighted by a went over party bill for our homecoming. He says thank you to our schools, communities, and families, coaches, and most importantly, our players for an incredible season. And I would like to also say thank you to our amazing volunteers, one of whom right there. Thank you for operating the store block and doing everything and helping me out. So I really appreciate that. My job would have been a lot harder if I didn't have great volunteers. For volleyball, Laura and Lyle Wright, Fall River Pirate program consisted of 3 teams. All the teams, varsity, JV, and JV2 worked hard. Each team showed notable improvement from the beginning of the season to the end. Varsity was overall 22-14, conference of 5-2. JV was 14-9, conference record of 5-2 as well. And JV2 played in at least 17 competitions throughout the season. A few highlights: they finished 3rd in the Trailways West Conference, made the gold bracket of the Friendship Tournament, which is a pretty tough competition. 2nd place finished at our 19 pair invites, both varsity and JV. They beat Columbus, solid conference victories against Rio and Cambria, and they received a 4th seed in our regional, which is the highest seed since 2019. It came to an end here against Catholic Central on a 5-set thriller, which I was really hoping they were going to pull off. She says, thank you to all our parents and players. Special thanks to our seniors and dedication to sport, Ava and Natalie. And a special thank you to Tim and Chris Jarosinski, who for many years provided our teams with a fun, wonderful place to stay in the Dells while they played in friendship tournaments. And talking about middle school sports now. Again, I do not have cross countries. But for football, Stephen writes, with a full team of 35 student athletes, the 22 Rebels were able to have a successful year, finishing the season 6-2. The team showed great resilience after starting year 1 and 2, followed by 5 straight wins to close out the season. They encountered many different playing conditions. I was in them all mostly. That wind was tough, or that rain was tough. All in all, it was a year they won't forget. And with 12 8th graders graduating to the next level, they're excited for the next class of Rebel football players. And I know he is a large fan of the co-op as well, with a large chunk of his team being from Rio. Middle school volleyball, I will not read through this all, but they worked on basic fundamental skills that will help the 7th graders transition to 8th grade and the 8th graders into high school. The 7th graders had an outstanding season, going undefeated in both the regular season and the end of season tournaments. With only 7 girls on the team, they worked really hard during each practice and game. It was great to see them transitioning to actual positions, running actual rotations, new plays, and demonstrating teamwork. The 8th grade girls also had a good season with a record of 3-9, and they lost a lot of close matches. They maintained good attitudes and came ready to practice. Many of them were unsure about what positions they wanted to play, so it was cool to see them get outside their comfort zones. Haley writes, and she said she's very thankful for the help she received this season, especially from Andrea and Alexa, who helped with the end of season tournaments. But she said she's excited to see them transition. Football, I have listed the team captains of Matthew Miller, Colin Heath, Connor Richardson, and Joseph LaRoche. Robbie Starker and Manny Kingston won that most outstanding lineman award for the team. And then Matthew Miller also, that's the next step, but he made all regions as a defensive back. For volleyball, most outstanding player was Ava Brzezinski, most improved her as well. Student co-offensive player of the years between Jennifer William and Hannah Dietzenbach. Natalie Anderson taking top ace server and pirate passer of the year. Those are the cross country boys that I mentioned earlier. Matthew Miller placed first team in conference for D-back, and Manny was defensive for D-lineman as well. And then Colin B for tight end, Logan Johnson for linebacker, and then Matt Miller also was an honorable mention for quarterback, and then all the for D-back as well. And then volleyball first team Ava, second team Hannah, and Natalie, and honorable mention Jenna. And a huge shout out to our rec sports this season as well. I talk about school here, but rec sports would be possible without amazing coaches. Ken helped out an immense amount this season. We did a great pad play football team. Becky and the coaches for volleyball did an amazing job. I couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. I thought the 5K through third grade. Football on the weekends went really well. The football team helped out, all the guys helped out. That was really cool to see. I enjoyed being a part of that on Saturdays. And just a preview into the winter sports season. Boys basketball is ranked 6th preseason poll in state, which is amazing. Girls won last night versus Johnson Creek for the first game of the year, which was great. I was just talking to Krivonic and the boys wrestling, or not boys, the wrestling team, because there are girls on the team. They just had their skin full of stuff tonight, and the season's gonna get going pretty soon. They started practices on Monday. And I know he's excited about that as well. And I probably talked too much, but there you go.
They made it through the first season.
I was gonna say, how was it for you, like, for your first?
I learned a lot. Yeah, I learned a lot. No, I mean, in all honesty, it's a lot, and it'd be impossible to do without everyone. I mean, it's the same thing I said in my interview, right? Like, or you told me in my interview, people really need help. And my God, I could not do without help. So I survived, but I was able to thrive during some points because of the help that I got. So that makes all the difference in the world. You can do it when it's a bunch of help. So.
Colleen's a real help too.
Okay, for Colleen's my boss. Colleen's the best. Let me just throw that out there. Let me throw that out there to the world. Colleen saves my butt every day. I will not hide that fact, nor will I'll save her face. Save my butt every day. So yeah, she helps me a lot.
I coached Colleen's oldest daughter.
Yeah.
And when the season started, they didn't have a coach. And they're like, Nate, you want to coach? Yeah, sure, I'll coach, no problem. Colleen, the first night was in the gym. Like, Colleen, I thought I was coaching the team. She's like, well, you're going to, but there's really things you should know about it.
You guys see cadence. Well, I mean, you can, but I'm here.
So she says, Nathan, these girls are running a lot. They didn't run as much last year. I'm like, well, that's good. We're in basketball, they're gonna run. And yeah, so I knew when my practices were because she scheduled every one of them.
I would be hiding under my desk without her.
Yeah. And the field was everywhere.
I am crying. So,
Love you, Colleen.
yeah, I love you, Colleen. Yeah, but it was a good ball. It was a good ball. I thought, having a new football coach would be an interesting transition, and Josh did great. I was really happy with everything. I'm just doing evaluations with coaches now, getting feedback from student athletes about what they thought of the seasons. But as the first season, I'm happy that it went the way it did. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Good job.
Hey, Dave. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
On the middle school football team, with the numbers growing, is there any consideration of splitting it into 2 teams, having kind of that 7th, 8th grade, and then either 5th, 6th, or just 6th?
Yeah, so I was looking at numbers and kind of talking to parents because we had 2 6th graders on the team. And that was Jack and Mason. And so yes, there are talks about it. I haven't, just in terms of numbers is the only thing I'm talking about, but I've reached out to a couple coaches as well to kind of see, but yeah, depending on numbers, that could be something. I don't have a great answer right now, besides I'm just kind of looking at numbers right now.
No, it's perfect.
We could, not in the cycle that's coming up, but the cycle that follows that, there's a 2-year cycle, the WIA, you have to apply for co-op or non-co-op. And next season is already set, but for the 2 years that follow that, it's too late if we wanted to go off our own. But the cycle that follows that, if our numbers are growing within the Fall River players, it's possible we could go back to our own team by then. But that gives us about 2 years to watch the numbers.
Yeah, I don't remember I know I broke it down last meeting or one of the other meetings between Rio and Fall River players. But yeah, I think on our middle school team, I don't want to speak
They're
on it.
pretty close. to
Yeah,
50-50.
it's 50-50 right now. I don't want to speak on the numbers, so I'm gonna get it wrong if I try to talk off the top of my head here, but yeah, to answer your question, as soon as I have more information on that, I'll definitely let you guys know too.
Perfect. Yeah, and my question wasn't about breaking the co-op. It was more the bridge between 6th grade and 8th grade is quite a bit, right? And so it's really just, do you split the middle school team into 2 teams, but continue the co-op?
Yeah, it's worried about like 6th graders not getting, like being a part of the team, but not getting enough playing time kind of thing. they're kind of just there to, I don't want to say be tackling them because it's incorrect, but they're just kind of there to practice and you want them to play and get game experience as well. So if we had enough, or if the numbers did that, or if we could do something with like the sixth and seventh, eighth or something, what I mean? So like if we could just talk around numbers, then I'd be definitely okay with that. And in terms of the league, that's what I have to figure out, like the logistics between getting a schedule for like a 5th and 6th grade team and then a 7th and 8th grade team. But yeah, it's definitely possible based on numbers, because I know our 6th grade was really low this year.
I haven't been to a game. Is there like a freshman playing basketball compared, a freshman playing against a senior? There's a big difference, obviously, in
Yeah.
height and weight and just maturity level, right?
Yeah.
You see a lot in football, like from 6th graders to 8th graders. Are there kids that could potentially,
Yeah, I for sure,
Get hurt?
I can definitely tell the difference, and I know Steven had one, I forgot what game it was, but it was just he's trying to do it just a 6th grade game, because they don't play as much, and then it's also a size thing as well, because
Yep.
there are some really big 8th graders, and compared to 6th grade, it can be a huge difference,
Yep.
for sure. So to answer your question, yes, you can definitely see a disparity, obviously, there are some exceptions to that with bigger 6th graders,
Right,
but in general, yes, there's a large disparity. So I think it might also even the playing field, get more 6th graders playing time. I think it's not a bad idea to consider at all if the numbers are there.
Do you know, Dave, how other schools, because I thought I've heard other schools are just 7th and 8th grade and we include 6th. So do you know if the other schools are actually that, or the entire middle
I
school?
don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
I can find out though.
I know that like Waterloo and Horicon and Marshall, those teams are all 7th and 8th graders.
yeah, I heard that
I think
too.
Randolph, because Randolph, we played Randolph in just the 6th grade team game this year. So that would say that I think their 7th and 8th are a separate team as well.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they're like that conference. So like I said, Waterloo, Marshall, Dodgeland, Horicon, those teams, Marcus, and they're all just 7th and 8th graders.
yeah, I just don't know based on the 6th graders who play, if we have like 2 7th graders next year. And then just 8th graders,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I just, how it's gonna fit and piece together, I'm not sure.
Being that really small 6th grade boys currently
Trying to figure out how to.
is,
fill it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not a
is-
lot in that class.
Right,
Because even for basketball.
the same thing
they're-
happens.
They're playing up, right? So and I didn't mention that, we have 2 6th graders playing up on the 7th grade team, and I didn't necessarily want to do that, but based on numbers, 7th graders didn't have enough. And talking to Arnie, and their dad and Marcus and a couple, it just made sense to bring them up. And they're also doing just fine for the 7th grade basketball team as well. But yeah, there's just not a lot in that class. So it's kind of just figuring out the disparity and figuring out what teams make sense based on what we have.
Yeah, but the 5th grade class currently is a big
Yeah,
class.
you know
that
probably
has
all the
a
numbers
lot
better
of,
than I do.
a lot of them play. I think there was 10 or 11 Fall River kids alone in 5th grade.
So those would be the 6th grade. next
Right.
year, Yeah, so.
So with the co-op, I mean, I think you would have enough with a team,
Yeah, and
with
then it's-
7th and 8th, and then 5th and 6th potentially next year, or just 6th or something like that.
yeah, and then I'm wondering, like, would it make more sense to, like, if you have 2 7th graders, let them play with the 6th graders and then just have an 8th grade team if the numbers low, or you know what I mean, like try to figure that out. I'm
Yeah.
just not sure. Like, it's basically where we put those 2 kids
Right.
in that class.
Depends on how big they are, that one.
Basically.
Well,
basically-
one goes up, one goes down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Greater than most.
Jack's going down. and
Fair, yeah.
what's going on?
fair point, yeah.
But
But
the size of.
with Ken asked you, I'll reach out, so I can reach out to teams and kind of figure out what they have going on.
You're a little better.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next up is discussion and possible action on the boys basketball winter tournament trip.
Hey, you're back up.
This is from Arnie, on their overnight trip. I think it's like what volleyball does. But he says, to Mr. Burr and the school board, the boys basketball teams would like to have permission to stay overnight in Stevens Point or Plover, Wisconsin on Tuesday, December 27, 2022. We are in the Almond Bancroft tournament on the 27th and 28th of December with both the varsity and JV teams playing both days. We will leave on Tuesday morning and be back in Fall River on Wednesday night after the games. There are no JV2 games, however, but we will include those boys for these 2 days as well. The lodging and meals we paid through our salt fund that we do every year. We also will pay the bus drivers lodging and meals as well. I feel it's a great time for the boys to be together in Rosenthal. As of right now, I have not decided on which hotel we will stay at, but it will be in the Stevens Point or Clover area. Once I have secured the hotel, I will forward the information on to Mr. Bird and Mr. Brown. Thank you, Arnie. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I think it's a
absolutely.
great thing for them.
Yes, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the boys basketball winter tournament trip.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nate, second by Jeff, to approve the boys basketball winter trip. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up is discussion of possible action on a school year calendar waiver for the 23-24 school year.
I got a waiver identical pretty much to the last few years. They approved us asking the DPI if we could start early. September 1 is this normal start date. Last couple of years, we used COVID as excuse. We got a couple days in early. My philosophy, a day in August, we learn more than we do in a day in June. And especially this year, September 1 is the start date. With September 1 is a Friday, so we start on September 1, we start Friday, or we say, okay, let's wait till the following Monday, or actually the following Tuesday, which would be about the 5th or 4th. That gets kind of late for a start, it pushes us back further into June. So this is to seek the board's approval to ask the DPI, we start a couple days early. What we'd probably do is start on Wednesday, August 30th, which would give us 3 days that week of school classes. We come back from Labor Day and 4 days of classes. The following week, we'd have 5 days of classes. So we're not starting a lot early, but it would break us in and get us a couple days in August instead of a couple days in June. Kids are playing sports and most of them are doing stuff anyway, so we're seeking this approval tonight. And then I've been in contact with another district nearby that has already submitted almost exactly the thing that, because they borrowed it from us in the last 2 years, they pretty much copied what we sent in. And if they get approved, we'd probably send ours in, because if they get approved, we're gonna get approved too. If they get denied, then we'll say, well, it's not worth submitting it. And but at least if I have your approval, as soon as I find out from them, if they get it, then we can submit ours also. I mean, I started August 1, really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. How early do public schools start? I mean, are there people that start that much earlier?
There's not many.
I mean,
I mean, we did the last 2 years, and I mentioned there was more than 15 schools last year that started early.
okay,
We're one of the few.
okay. Well, I can make a motion to approve the school year calendar waiver for 2023-2024.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nate, second by Guy, to approve the school year calendar waiver for the 23-24 school year. Any further discussion? I'm gonna do a roll call for this resolution, so to start with Jeff,
Aye,
Kenny,
or approve.
Guy,
I approve.
Nate,
I approve.
and Derek is yes. It's 5-0, passes. Next up is district reports.
We're gonna change things up a little bit, and I'm gonna start this time instead. So.
It's called victory.
So first thing I would, like to report on was our Veterans Day, and I think you probably, would mimic what I have to say. Our Veterans Day observance ceremony, assembly, however you want to call it, was amazing this year. We had so many positive remarks from community members and teachers, even some of our high school kids. I don't know if you got the same thing. It was effective, it was timely, and I think we did a great job of having our community in our school. The bands played, the choir sang, the 4th grade did a presentation, a little play or skit. Our seniors for the Daughters of the Revolution, I think it was, gave their speeches for their contest that they had. When they sang, they had a slideshow with all of the veterans of family members of our school staff and our community. It was humbling, and it was amazing for me personally to be in the gym and to witness that with all of our students K-12. And then we ended up having to set up numerous chairs extra because the community just flooded in. So it was touching, and it was a great ceremony. After that, Melissa Litherland and the students provided a luncheon for the veterans and their families. And almost all of the food that was there at luncheon, from the charcuterie boards to the casseroles, were provided from donations that she was able to get. And I was telling, policy during a policy meeting earlier, that, even the salads that we were eating were from the Tower Gardens in her classroom, that were being grown in her classroom. So it was a great day.
And I'd like to add to that, I didn't get it in time to add to the agenda, but the VFW was very thankful for all what Mrs. Litherland did and donated $250 back to her classroom for what she did for them. So,
Yeah, it was great. So if you didn't get to see it, it was awesome.
I also spoke with a teacher who's new to our district this year. And was thrilled that we even have this. Came from a district where they don't do this. And was always disappointed in, so he was very thankful. That we did so.
It was great. It's all of the kids staying to elementary. We had them up in the bleachers, and they were doing, I know I'm going overkill right now, but it was amazing. Like you couldn't wipe the smile off my face when we got it done. It was great. Also, we had class meetings this week and last Thursday for the middle school, and then, this week during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The students were given their Q1 incentive, which was linked to the number of weeks on MASH, and then detentions and suspensions. So if they had 0 suspensions or detentions and were on MASH 3 or fewer times, the students were given a donut. And then we also opened that meeting, that was how we ended it. We opened the meeting with reviewing again, grading for learning for all of our students, with Ms. Hayden, Ms. Leventhal, and I being present for those meetings. And then we opened it up for Q&A for the students as well. So now that they're seeing those grades populate, a lot of those questions are coming up, and we wanted to make sure we gave that time to the students to clarify any questions that they may have. Then our last thing is I wanted to update everyone on our health career exploration course. But before I do that, I really want to send a huge thanks to Nurse Jess. I know she plays so many roles in our school, in both K-12 all the way through our building. Her contributions, she just keeps our school running and running well. She takes care of our students, she takes care of our staff, she takes care of us admin. She truly is a huge part of our school and what keeps our day-to-day things working well. So she's our nurse. She also, I just found out today, she has her mental health first aid certification, kind of as that first line of defense for mental health needs that our students will have, might have. We do only currently have one counselor, and I know that there was questions that were brought up earlier about the counseling positions, but we're working to try to staff ourselves a little bit more appropriately for our student body by looking to get another counselor in. I know there were questions that were brought up, and I'm going to clarify that right now. So we're not hiring 3 different positions. We're looking to just get somebody in for now for the remainder of the school year, but we weren't getting any people applying for the first position that we had posted, which was the K-12 counselor. So we then posted it as an elementary school counselor and then as a middle high school counselor. So that's why it's posted so many different times. I know there were questions about that.
The goal is to get someone, you know, from a little series to apply. So you post it different ways, because it might spike someone's interest versus somebody else.
Yeah. But I digress, I apologize. Back to Nurse Jess and her amazingness. Not only is she doing all of those things for us, but she is also teaching classes for us as well. And so what she is going to talk with us is, last week we talked about the fact that we have enough students interested in the, I always mess up the name of the class, health careers exploration course that she's going to be teaching second semester. And she's here to kind of talk with us a little bit more about that. We do not have to take it to the education committee because we already have a board approved course with that title and with that basic curriculum within it. But we just want to make sure that we kept you informed as to what we were doing and how we were moving forward, and she's going to help us with that.
So it'll hit all the same standards that were in the original course, but I'm talking to different teachers that teach this in different districts. Most districts our size do not have a health science program at all. So even just like our med-term dual credit, like that's pretty unique to a school our size. A lot of bigger schools, so like Waukesha, Sun Prairie, Wausau, they have these programs. So I just think it's really cool that we're offering this kind of niche market to our students in our community. So we're gonna really focus on, in our first year of health careers exploration, really like, what are health careers? Like everybody, you know, might think, well, I wanna be a nurse, I wanna be a doctor, but those are only two like small parts of it. So I want to bring in different health professionals to talk to the kids, talk about not just what do I do every day, but how do I get there? So the students will, first half of the first third quarter, it'll be the first half of the quarter semester, we'll be learning about all these different careers and what is available in this area or where you have to go to do those careers, that sort of thing. And then the second half will be more specific where they'll do job shadowing. They'll pick a career, they'll figure out like a path for them. And maybe it's not the path they're gonna take, but say a freshman is gonna pick, I wanna be a veterinarian. What do I have to do to get there? So how much school? What classes can I take in high school? I really, in the beginning, that's gonna be a lot of juniors and seniors that wanna take the class because they're already thinking about it. But my long-term goal with this course, and then maybe even additional courses, would be that we catch those freshmen and sophomores early. So we get them into this pathway that they can then graduate high school, already have 6-9 credits of college courses under their belt. They could already have, you can get a college certificate, so a 1-year diploma in high school. So you could go out, and some of these kids have to work before they can go to school, and maybe some don't want to go back to school. And that's kind of where their end goal is. And so just being able to offer that for all the ranges of kids, not just kids that are going off to be a doctor or just like can afford to go to, you know, a 4-year school. What are other options they have and how can they achieve that staying local? So we're gonna have a lot of people come in, we're gonna do a lot of field trips, we're gonna do a lot of Q&A type questions, and then just kind of learn about all their options. So that's my plan.
That's awesome, Jessica. Thank you. It's awesome.
I'm done.
Mr. Bailey? All right. So a couple things to start off. I want to thank Nurse Jess, Counselor has brought up Lisa Roach, and Kendra Hayden. Our school's great, fantastic, wonderful. We have great parents, great community, great staff. However, there are times where stress does happen here. And sometimes they're sad. And these folks are the people that I am able to get in a room with and support the teacher to help build them up and get them in a better place that we can educate our students better, so they're in a better place. I think it's great to have them in the building and they do a great job working as a team, supporting their staff with myself included to get them where they want to be. And it shows the staff too, like, I don't go home. There's just doesn't go home. Kendra doesn't go home. We use a team down in the office. So you also need to use our team to help you get better. Because are times where educating kids are. And people that need picking up. And so they've been great helping you with that this year. I also want to thank Mrs. Butler. Mrs. Butler has taken on our gifted and talented program this year. She's a 4th grade teacher. She's done a fantastic job of organizing the different events. We just had an event yesterday where the kids went to the Chula Vista for a Math Matters competition. During that competition, there were 400 plus students there. I'll let her come next month and kind of sing the praises of what the kids did. What the kids competed, excuse me, in both team and individual events. And they did very well and represented our school district very well. I don't want to give too much, that'll be next month, but I'm very happy with what she was doing with this and how she's handling it. Not that I just want to give it to people and not have to think about it. But when you can give it to someone, they take it on, they bring new ideas, and they're gonna go about it, and they don't need handholding. That is a sign of a really competent person who's in charge of the program. That's what I'm seeing from Jen. So she's doing a great job. She also does a GOD type competition, also kind of in the future, and then the spelling also this year. So she's doing a great job. Thank you, Ms. Butler. I know last month I talked about a literacy team that we formed. I talked with Mrs. Robbins and Miss Reed regarding their meetings currently. and where we're at and that we're on the right track. What we're seeing in our elementary data, especially in the area of literacy, is our vocabulary. Areas within I-ready tend to be lower. So that is a focus within our professional development that we started in my staff meeting. Ms. Reese did a great job last month, and then we're going to continue that during our January professional development day. So in talking with Heather, she's like, yes, that's the same area of need that they saw in their data dive, and then they also have now completed a needs assessment. Where they got input from staff, parents, and then myself. They're taking all of that data to create an action plan for next steps. And thank you, Mr. Burr, for literacy resource that we approved tonight that we're gonna get for our 4K through 2nd grade teachers. So it's an area that we want to attack and get better at, and I think we're on our way with the team that we have.
Thank you.
very much.
So as the city guys reflecting, but we're talking about a number of staff members who are really taking leadership on their own, growing our kind of our own leaders, people taking leadership and initiative. And when you look at the kids that are here tonight too, same kind of thing. It was kind of a connection to kids. Dimension of our staff, growing our own leaders, people taking charge, taking initiative, and evidently taking pride in our school, what we're doing. So that was kind of cool. I just noticed right now, I'm sitting here. Just the old guy reflecting here. So I should talk turkeys. We handed out turkeys mostly yesterday and few today, and staff was so appreciative. They were just really thrilled with it and very thankful. And we had staff members calling their friends at other districts that maybe they used to be at, saying, guess what our district's doing for us? They go, seriously? So they're kind of bragging about Fall River and how they've been treated here. And I think that bodes well for us in the future too. I think that's pretty cool. In your handouts, I have the budget calendar. Some of you guys have seen it in the past. We got a lot of new board members. So I wanted you to see that the structure of how we go about budgeting through a full year. And to me, the most important one is actually in March, in the middle. Staff meetings to gather input into budget decisions. And Jennifer will get to experience that with us this year. But in the past, Colleen and I and the principals meet with every grade level, departments, buildings and grounds, food service, guidance, kindergarten, first grade, 2nd grade, social studies, every meet with as a team all the way through and try to find out what their needs are, what they want to spend money on, what do they need, and get their input. They don't always get all they want, but it's a great opportunity for us to find out as a staff what you need. And it's funny how many of those conversations, we talk about the budget and they say, oh, by the way, and our conversation goes into something else, educational, usually about the kids in class and what we're doing in our curriculum or something. So it's funny how these meetings turn to not just be budget, but it's also been really good for Colleen. She's relatively new in her role. This is her 3rd year of really being the bookkeeper. And she's learning a lot through this process, so I think it's been helpful for her too. Plus, these guys get to learn more how the school finances work, and that's one of my goals, to teach them more and more school finance of what's going on, and so they understand. And if you know the budgeting process, how it works, how we come up with the funds, and then how it gets spread out. And it's also helpful, like I had a teacher come in today saying, well, if we have the money, here's something I'd like to see. I said, well, when we were in your room last year, we talked about something, and so having been in the classroom, we don't meet in my office, we go to their classrooms so we can see what they have in their classroom, what their resources are, what their needs might be. It could be as easy as these curtains are falling off the wall. Okay, it could be that simple. We can see what the needs are. But I think that's something I've done this for 15 years. I think it's one of the smartest things I've ever done, because I get that connection with staff, but these guys get to do some of that too. So that's the seal on the budget. To go with that, now that the election is over, we can know who's won the races. It gives us a little bit better idea of where we might be, or we still don't know. I have our Baird model now. We need some things to find out yet. Like, we have no idea about salaries, health insurance, and exact state funding. I told our health insurance broker that we pretty much want to go out for bid this year, because we were asked to do a 12% increase in health insurance last year. And we got it down to 10 by wiggling around and doing some things. But I have a fear of how high that could go again this year with, I've heard some people getting some fairly high rates. Until we have some final answers from the state, it's hard to know exactly where we're gonna go. And in this budgeting calendar, I put some question marks, because I put a question marks on, well, this is what I'd like to do it. I'm not sure if we can, do it. We'll have enough information by then. An important part, I think, will have to be is the finance committee would have to get together early in the 2023 year and sit down and talk about what our priorities are, what the finance committee thinks they would like to do, and then come with the whole board and talk about, you know, what are the board's priorities? How are we really going to spend our money? What's our staffing model going to look like? Part of it is predicting where we're going into the future. We've talked about, would we maybe need to go to referendum in the future? And Bear gets out this thing that I shared with these two behind me about who's all passed referendums. There was a whole bunch of referendums. There were 81 referendum questions last Tuesday, and 79% of them passed. Why some fail? There's all sorts of reasons why they might have failed, but in these uncertain times, I'm glad we didn't go to referendum yet, because a lot of people did already. And I had a friend say, I wish we'd asked for double what we got, because now what we asked for wasn't enough. So I don't want to go until, you know, if we find out we have to, first of all, and secondly, don't go until what we know what we need. It's hard for that school district. Are they going to come back 2 years later and ask for more when they didn't ask enough the first time? So I'm glad we stayed out of that, and we're just going to stay the course, do the best we can with what we have. And then when the time is right, we'll find out what we're actually getting from the state. And again, get finance committee and full board's input on what we think our priorities are and what we would like to support. So that's my spiel on that. The other thing I should just mention is it came out yesterday, the school report cards, and we exceeded expectations again at all entry, at all levels. The numbers were not exactly as high as the year before, but we still exceeded expectations across the board. And someone from Wisconsin News emailed asking, you got any comments about how you guys saw and exceed expectations? So I gave her a few words you might see in an article someplace. And then she said, congratulations. And even she, the reporter, realized you guys did well. It's now going to be public, so now I can look to see how the other schools did, which would be kind of fun for me to. So by the next board meeting, I hope to give you a report. We did something like this last year to show where we were, so I'll update this so you can see where we are. And then also have something like this for comparison to other districts around us, because it's fun to see where we, well, as long as we're doing well, it's fun to compare to other places around. And that becomes part of that little handout that we did last year, that you can brag about our district and why this is a great place for you to educate your kids and why you should be here. So that's my news for the night.
Thank you very much. A lot of planning goes into that budget process. I don't know if everyone knows it takes like usually over a year of planning to then finally close everything out.
We just pull numbers out.
Yeah, that's right. Anything else? So we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll let you adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
Motion by Kenny, second by Jeff. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.